morning. This is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Pepper Master, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids. Fashionably late. Thank you for your patience.
Wasn't me.
And welcome. No, it wasn't you today. And welcome to the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Crier Media Network. Yeah. Today, recording day is it Friday?
Mhm.
Yes, it's Friday, September 27th, 2024. And it looks like it's going to be a nice day here at the Beaver Lodge, which is good because, well, I actually can't complain. We have been getting a lot of rain, but it's mostly been at night and the very early morning, but it's been staving off throughout the day. So a little bit of water at night for the plants to drink and the garden to drink, and then sunny days. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that whatsoever. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver A. And with me, as always, is my good friend, Mr. Grizzly. For those who are watching live, thank you for your patience. I don't know how we both did it, but my Beaver sweetie and I apparently slept through 10 minutes of constant alarm ringing. Because my phone does say that the alarm was turned on. So I guess we were both
tired.
really tired. So woke up 11 minutes before the show was supposed to start. So this happened in record time.
I just roll out of bed, man.
I got a big mane up here, so I got to do something with it every now and then. So sometimes it takes a few minutes. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver A. And with me, as always, is my good friend, Mr. Grizzly. And again, kids, thank you for your patience. A big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. And you know what? Since I was a little late, before I ask you how your mental health is doing, Mr. Grizzly, I think I will say hello to the kits and cubs who have joined us this morning by using our famous magic, well, I won't say mirror because I don't have a mirror here, but vlasses.
Okay.
So I see Kit Cassie, Kit Elaine, Kit Saucy. Who else? Kit Vim, hello. Kit Linda M, the original and the best. Kit Mr. Jim, hello, my friend. Please say hello to Kit Lori for me. Please give her a big squeeze. Who else do we have? Kit PNC Bio. I love you. You always make me laugh. Kit Argosi Acres, Kit Dan, hello, my friend. Big hug to you. Who else do we have joining there this morning? Pop up if you want to get a hello. Kit Frankie, hello, my man. Nice to see you here with us today. Kit Cassie, I don't know if I said it already, but if I haven't, that's okay. And if I have, that's okay too, because why not? So nice, I said it twice. And I think that's everyone that's gotten in this morning for a hello before we start. Just checking. Oh, no, Kit Mohan, Kit Jen, there you are. Hello, and Mohan, when we say hello to Mohan, we say hello to the family as well. Hello, Mateo, Rain, Jazzy, and Miss. Thank you for joining us. Kit Sean just slides in there to get a hello right before the end. All right. Safe. All right. Jen, thank you. Damn, that bespectacled is sexy on you. Well, I was a boy who made passes at boys who wore glasses, so hopefully now that I'm wearing glasses, my investment returns. uh, Mr. Grizzly, how's your mental health today, sir? I seem to be doing well despite the fact that I'm a little late.
Yeah, you're chipper.
I'm chipper.
Like chipper. Like holy crap! Like okay, it's a little too saccharine for me right now. I'm not. I'm only on my second.
This is what I was like in high school on Monday mornings.
Oh, I would have smacked the shit out of you.
I know. Right. It's like, do you have an off button?
Yeah, you're like Valerie Perrine.
Or like
Perky.
Yes. Oh, what's her name? Oh, in in Greece.
Didi Khan, Frenchie.
No, the girl who was like part of the student council right in the beginning, like this, that always had holding her books like this. Isn't it the most?
Oh yeah. I can't remember her name, but yeah.
Patsy something or
Patsy something or another. There was a guy I used to work with years ago. His name was Tim. His surname is escaping me right now, but that's not important. I don't want to say that on the air. But we used to work. We'd be on the job site at 6:30, meet, have coffee, and get started at 7. And we were doing line work. So we were literally setting up ladders, climbing telephone poles, right? Doing reconstruction work for networks. And, we were doing this in the winter. And he'd show up and, hey guys, how's it going? Good to see you. Happy. I'm like, and we're all just on our first coffee going like, what the hell is wrong with him? Did somebody drug him? He's like, no, I'm just perky in the morning. I've always been like this. I'm like,
Yes.
That wants to smack you. Like literally, there's a part of me that wants to smack you, and then there's another part of me that just wants to go. I wish I felt like that. So yeah,
we have
how's my mental health? I have no idea. I'm not awake yet, man.
That's okay. Once you figure out, let us know. We have Kit Jen that came here and saved me. Patty Simcox. By the way, yes, and I guess we all remember her like this because that was the main pick. The main, I'm guessing it was her main role, but the actress who played her, by the way, her name is Susan Buckner, and it seems she passed away just this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on May 7th. But this is what she actually looks like without the glasses and the sort of intentionally goofy, nerdy look.
Yeah, she's a very attractive woman. I knew a lot of her work. She'd been in a ton of films.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I ever remembered her from. She might, again, because she had such a distinctive look in this.
Well, she was a character actor, so she'd blend into the background in a lot of things. Like you wouldn't necessarily think, oh, that was her. Like when you look at a film with Brad Pitt in it, you go, oh, there's Brad Pitt, the movie star.
Right.
He never disappears into his role. And I'm not knocking him. It's just, he's Brad Pitt. Whereas Heath Ledger was stuck with that at the beginning of his career. And then he did the Joker and everybody went, holy shit. Because you could watch Heath Ledger as the Joker, and within 2 minutes, you forgot you were looking at Heath Ledger because he disappeared into the role. Of course, it killed him. So, there's sadness there. But she tended to blend into the background in the sense that she so enveloped each role she was in that you just totally missed her. But I do remember her name, and I do remember her face. But don't ask me what movie she was in. I know she was in a number of them. Couldn't tell you a single one of them.
Okay. So I'm looking at her IMDb. She has a lot of TV appearances. But after and this might be why, just difference in ages maybe, because after she did Grease, according to her IMDb, she only has 5 other appearances, and they were all on TV, and they were all 1981 and earlier, except for one in 1989, and she was uncredited in it. So I just that sort of perky. It's Monday morning. We're going to school. I'm going to see all my friends. I get to do fun activities. I get to learn stuff. Yeah, I was that. I tell you, kids, I was a keener. I was a total keener. I was that kid. All right. Speaking of keeners, Mr. Grizzly, Somebody yesterday felt it very, 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 very important to make a certain point.
I have a video clip. It's
Yeah.
not the perfect clip, but it is a clip.
No, it's someone of whom I'm sure if you've been following us for a bit, you know, of whom I'm not a fan.
Well, as I stated, methinks he thou dost thou he dost thinks thou don't protest too much.
The Connie doth protest too much.
Let's watch this clip. This is a clip of a clip, okay? So it's the best I could find.
Features, and instead spoke about the engagement done by the government internationally. And the Hansard shows the exchange, and many of the comments about made on Twitter about what was allegedly said don't reflect what's in the Hansard. The Hansard notes, does he engage with them in the bathtub? The point of that comment is to illustrate that, of course, meetings don't take place in a bathtub. A luxurious bathtub has nothing to do with meetings. The Prime Minister's answer had nothing to do with the questions, but it had nothing to do with sex. I wasn't thinking about sex at all. Features.
Okay. Now, whoever, before we get into what he said, I just want to show you something, because whoever did this, I want to bear your children. Just so you know. Okay. A little visual. I'm sorry for those listening at home, but where did it go?
I don't know.
Oh, darn. I had the thing set up with a laugh. Oh, darn. Okay. Too bad. Sorry, the timing didn't work. But okay, so you have Garnet Genuis like this, and here's the thing about that blows my mind about this is that he stands up there and actually reads what's in the Hansard, and then tries to get us to think that it wasn't about sex. Now, I don't know what he meant by the choice of his word engage. And
trying to be funny.
Typically, in the bathtub, I believe we are unclothed.
I tend to be.
And I don't know anything about Mr. Genuis' sex life, and I really don't want to. But
I don't think he's found the handle to the closet door, but that's just my personal opinion.
Without trying to get into the realm of TMI, in my life experience, and I would assume it's similar to yours, Mr. Grizzly, but let's say after my adult years, if I'm in a bathtub, unclothed, engaging with someone.
Yeah, it's probably going to be not about policy.
I understand that there's bathtub and that there's soap and whatnot, but there's something dirty going on.
Well, and so I'm reading something here from Sherry Romando. She says, I sit across from him and I can confirm he said it. And Michael Barrett made the comment about the bunk. I witnessed it myself and it is in fact captured in the Hansard, though the Hansard does not name the MPs who said it. So, Right Honourable Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister, Liberal Party. Mr. Speaker, engaging with international leaders on fighting climate change, on solving global crises, and standing up unequivocally for Ukraine. Some honourable members, does he engage with them in the bathtub? Did Tom get the top bunk?
Oh, right.
That's from Michael Barrett.
Michael Barrett, Bully Barrett, who sees a criminal around who sees a liberal criminal under every rock, around every corner, and behind every tree. He added the top bunk. He literally posted a picture of himself just a few days ago at the county fair with a t-shirt that said something like kindness and something else. And he got ratioed like crazy for that.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Did he engage him in the bathtub? Did he get the top bunk? So now we're talking about being in bathtubs, and engaging people in bathtubs, which usually does not happen with clothes on. And then somebody's bringing in, I guess subtly for a conservative, the issues of tops and bottoms.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
But I wasn't thinking about sex.
No. Let's talk about bathtubs and then tops. Come on.
Girl.
Come on.
Girl, at the frequency with which you lie.
I think
Girl.
I think his career is finished. I wasn't talking about sex.
That's like I said, for the rest of his life.
Methinks thou dost protest too much. Bro, we're not letting this go. Nope. I might play that clip every day until he's gone because, come on, man, you did it to yourself.
Oh,
you did it to yourself.
Yeah. Oh my God. I cannot believe this guy. All these people do is think about sex.
That's it. Sex and alcohol.
Well, I mean, let me put it this way. If they're not thinking about their own sex lives, which they should, they are definitely thinking about ours all the time, or our the evangelicals, as I call them. Because I keep on saying it, man. Because I can't even say new rule anymore, because it's well-established rule. Y'all are not allowed to think about gay sex more often than gay people do.
Well, I mean,
okay, let me put some precision here. Let's put in an amendment to that rule. You all are not allowed to think about sex more often than the most promiscuous gay person who's ever existed in history has thought about sex. Okay? The biggest gay or rainbow nymphomaniac that ever graced this earth. You think about our sex more often than they do.
Mm-hmm.
You're obsessed with it. In my lifetime, I've seen newspaper articles about these groups, like sort of like Mothers for America or something like that, actually buying copies of The Lion King and watching them frame by frame to see if in one animated cell the clouds weren't sort of formed like penises or boobs.
Yes. Yeah.
Literally, that's what they did with their lives.
Pretty pathetic.
The gift that their creator, that they claim to believe in, gave them, they chose to spend the precious moments of that watching The Lion King frame by frame to see if there were boobs in the clouds. Never mind that The Lion King had like a straight up joke. What do you want me to do? Dress in drag and do the hula? You could have focused on that one as promoting it, but no, you had to watch it frame by frame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you couldn't turn around and say, well, Scar was maybe a little overdramatic. Maybe he was potentially fabulous. No. You had to, I mean, if you wanted to find some gay subtext, you didn't have to work that hard.
It's a little bit easier to find in the world if you just look outside your window.
Nathan Lane was cast in the movie as one of the voices. You really didn't have to go digging watching the movie frame by frame if you wanted to try and make some type of case. You look dumb.
The reason they do that is so they can make the accusation that you're trying to convert our kids to gay.
Subliminally.
Yeah, because, let's flip the coin on that for a minute, though. Okay? Flip the coin on that for a minute, because you hear that constantly. Oh, being gay is a choice. And then when they get asked, when did you choose to be straight? Okay. So if if people are trying to convert children to be gay, couldn't we adversely say that children who are gay, people are always trying to convert them to straight? Because there's more straight imagery in the world than gay imagery.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you could, as a gay man, you could say, well, I'm tired of having all this straight hetero stuff thrown in my face and shoved down my throat, as they like to say.
Yes.
Right?
And
as a
it's like,
defense, as a coin flip. I mean, come on, folks.
well, yeah, but that's it. But we have said that was a strategy we used back in the day. It's like, oh, really? It's like you're tired of our stuff being shoved down your throat. So every time I watch a chick flick, every time I watch a rom-com,
Mm-hmm.
every time I see somebody, you know, like, look at my engagement ring. Every time I see a pregnant woman.
Yeah. I mean,
every baby shower, bridal shower.
You're not allowed to protest that. You're not allowed to protest that, right?
Every time I see a couple walking hand in hand. Every time I see a couple walking with their children.
Without fear of persecution for doing so.
It's like, what screams, hey, I'm heterosexual, than walking down the street with your children?
Yeah.
It's like, if I chose to be like triggered every single time I saw a parent walking with their child, like some people are triggered every time they see a rainbow.
Well, they keep saying, you know, that they keep getting mad about, you know, there's too many gay people in this world. Well, stop making them.
Keep it in your pants.
Stop making them. They just don't comprehend the fact that people are literally born that way.
And I'm saying, there's like, why are you complaining? Because you did good work. You're making this. You made some quality stuff. Stop whining. That's like going to your favorite restaurant for like 75-star restaurants. The caviar wasn't salty enough.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, it's freaking caviar. I think you're good. Right? It's like you make us and you make us fabulous, and then you complain.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, or make us, but don't make us as wonderful and delightful as we are.
I would say, and you call me out on this if you think I'm being over the line or incorrect in the following statement. I would say that Garnet Genuis was being overly hysterical in his response, or in his
he was
supposed apology. Hysterical. Tell me if I'm wrong. I mean, I wasn't talking about sex. You're the one who said it, dude. Like, he went straight to that. Nobody else had said he was talking about sex. He said that.
There was nothing sexual in the discussion whatsoever. It's like, do they have a meeting in the bath? And again, right, if you're talking about, you know, you're not talking about like having a meeting at a luxury place, like, really, okay, so you get this, go to the hotel, and you get this luxury suite, right? That's probably, let's say, bigger than the person's average apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And out of all the places where you can engage, between Skippy air quotes, another person, the one place you think of is the bathtub. Did your parents not tell you about sex, Garnet? I mean, I don't know how old you are. I assume you're in your 40s, but have you had it yet? Because listen, the bathtub, again, at the risk of TMI, if you're about to have sex in it, is one of the places where you have sex after you've tried every other room in the house and every other surface, because you're getting at the point now where you're starting to add contortions and, you know, yoga.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I shouldn't say yoga, but yoga-like. Bathtubs are not particularly huge and comfortable.
No, unless it's like a luxury.
Don't ask me how I know.
I'm not saying it. I'd be lying if I said I haven't slept in a bathtub at a party on one occasion or another. And they're not comfortable.
I came close to sleeping in the bathtub, but that's because my mouth got me in trouble. Having a fight, you're sleeping in the bathtub tonight.
Look, every time I had business meetings in fancy hotels, we always went to someone's room and crammed into the bathtub to have a good discussion. It's normal business.
Hey, how did you think that song Rub-a-Dub-Dub came along?
There you
the butcher,
go.
the baker, the candlestick baker. It was just a meeting of the Better Business Association of the neighborhood.
Yeah, common practice, you know. Moving on with this joke of a party.
Jonathan, take notes.
This absolute joke of a political party. And this is costing us money. So they had their non-confidence vote the other day, right? So immediately, Pierre Poilievre tables another non-confidence motion after being defeated, resoundingly defeated. And here's here's the wording of his non-confidence motion. And look who the person reacting is Andrew Coyne. Oh, for the love of God, make it stop. Quote, from his tabling of his non-confidence motion. The House has lost confidence in the government and offers Canadians the option to axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime. I can't make this shit up.
Yeah.
That's literally what it says.
Yeah. And it's not.
In their latest challenge brought forward on Thursday, Poilievre blames the Liberal government for doubled housing costs, tax food, punished work, unleashed crime, and calls it the most centralizing government in Canadian history. The House has lost the confidence in the government and offers the Canadians now an option to axe the tax, build the home, fix the budget, stop the crime. He actually put that into motion.
Yep. So the first one, right, which I'm going to bring down the government at the earliest opportunity. The earliest opportunity came. He was a man of his word. He didn't bring down the government. It ended up being a vote of non-confidence in him. I'm going to do it again 2 days later. And the first one was that the House has no confidence, rather than the House has lost confidence. Right? The House currently has no confidence, which was an interesting choice of words for a simple wording thing. But then that didn't work. So, hey, I've got 5 of these. Let me try it exactly 2 days later. And this one, since the allegedly clean proposal didn't work, let's load it up with a whole bunch of stuff that I know.
Verb the noun.
Won't happen. So, again, literally wasting your money, your time. This is House time, House of Commons, House of the People, House time that could be used to be doing the people's business. But by the wording of that, it's literally, he has hijacked the House to do Pierre's business, not even the Conservative Party of Canada's business.
Well, and after
Pierre's business specifically.
The first one he tabled the other day, he left. He wasn't even there for the vote.
Well, no, I'm not sure if he wasn't there for the vote, but it was tabled one day and then the vote was the next.
Yeah, and he wasn't there.
So he read he read it on the first day, like this, made his great grand speech like this, where he talked about all that kind of weird stuff. And then turned on his heels and left. Didn't even stay for the rest of this discussion, just like the vote-a-thon. He dropped it, then left, and had everybody else do his dirty work. Everybody else stayed in the House and voted all night long while he went to a menorah lighting ceremony for Hanukkah, being the only MP in the entire House who could do that, who could get pictures of himself pandering to the Jewish community.
After he voted against funding a
Holocaust museum in a Jewish in Montreal and a Jewish community center in Vancouver. Then he went into their home, and then used the Jewish community, because the real reason why he was in Montreal was for a 4-digit a plate fundraiser in Point Claire, from which he returned in the early hours of the morning,
drunk,
triumphantly, with McDonald's for everyone. Because apparently everybody who stayed home to do his dirty work for him weren't entitled to have something catered, or at least some pizza during there. They had to wait for Daddy to come home with bags of McDonald's. And then, allegedly, but based on the behavior in the House of Commons, it's kind of hard to come to any other conclusion. And since we've seen a couple of things afterwards from him, a couple of emerging from the Diagolon trailer, stumbling, a couple of press conferences in the morning where he looks extremely tired, looked like he slept in the bathtub and wasn't engaged, all puffy and behave for those of us who have grown up in houses with alcoholism, behaving very much like dry drunk.
Yeah.
And we've seen this repeatedly. And if you look at some of the other videos, there was another video of him the other day from the past where he had a little bit of a eggnog in a cup and then he's adding alcohol to it. And like he's got one of these like big, sort of like German steins
Mm-hmm.
type thing. And it's about 1/3 full of eggnog and he adds alcohol to about like the same level, like 1 for 1.
Yeah, it was
Like this, and then puts 2 hands on it, 2-hand drinker like Trump drinks it like as he's recording a Christmas video. Like you're just like watching the thing pour.
and that video was 2 years old, by the way.
Yeah, you're just watching. Again, we can't say for a fact that this guy's got a drinking problem. He sure has got a thinking problem. But
Look, Aaron O'Toole came out and said at point blank that you do not use the House of Commons for social media clips, and that's all Pierre Poilievre has done in the last 2 years. That's all he does. Rage farming social media clicks. That's it. And then he nouns the verb, or verbs the noun, I should say. Repeats it ad nauseum. The other day in the House of Commons, what was it on last week? Last Thursday. I'm watching it, and every con MP that stood up says, crime is up, time is up, time to get rid of the liberals, axe the tax. And they all started with the same stupid 3-word slogans that make no sense. They have no platform, no solutions, no policies to help a single Canadian. All they want to do is take power so they can rule over you. And I don't know how people do not understand or see that. They have nothing to add. You know, we talked about this just yesterday with an upcoming guest you'll see next week on how there was a time when, although the opposition, certainly in opposition, they didn't necessarily oppose 100% of everything.
oppose and propose.
Exactly. The fundamental basis of the opposition party is to oppose and propose. You negotiate. But they don't do that. They just say no to everything, as evidenced in the last budget. They voted no against feeding children. They don't want to govern. They want to rule.
Mm-hmm. Now, Mr. Grizzly, I happen to have located it. Now, this one has a little bit of editing that makes it look like he's doing this continuous pour that goes on forever. So it's not one continuous pour. But I'm asking you to check the level on the cup.
Yeah.
Okay. So here we go. This is the cup. So it's a big cup when he starts.
It's a big mug. Well, that's a good...
That's a very,
3 ounces, because that's a big mug. That's a good 3-4 ounces of rum.
Okay.
Wow.
And then if I would have never again, PR guy, seeing that, don't post that.
No, that's not good.
That's not a healthy amount of alcohol in one drink.
Well, you also saw the size of that mug, right?
Exactly.
It's a very large mug.
And your background is Christmas.
Yeah.
Ugh. Boy.
Yeah.
I like I said, I do not know for a fact if this man has a drinking problem, but circumstantial. I'm getting the feels.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying, as someone who grew up in a household where alcohol was an issue, I get the feels with this guy. I just do. So, like I said,
well,
and I know we try not to do speculation and rumor and that type of stuff. But at some point, too many coincidences are not a coincidence.
Well, so let's stick with that for a moment,
So
shall
I'm not
we?
saying that it is the case, but there's definitely genuine reason to be concerned.
Let's stick with that too many coincidences, because I'm going to put a graphic on the screen here that will make a whole lot of sense when I read it out. I'll read it into our Hansard, if you will. So this
All right.
graphic I came across yesterday from the Holocaust Encyclopedia, writing the news. Shortly after taking power in January 1933, Adolf Hitler and the Nazis succeeded in destroying Germany's vibrant and diverse newspaper culture. The newly created Ministry of Public Enlightenment and Propaganda handed out daily instruction to all German newspapers, Nazi or independent, detailing how the news was to be reported. Key facts. Number 1, prior to the Nazi takeover, Germany had 4,700 different newspapers reflecting all shades of political opinion. Key facts number 2. The Nazi regime quickly eliminated freedom of the press in Germany, shutting down oppositional newspapers and manipulating the press. Key facts number 3. The Nazi Party's press empire rapidly expanded after 1933, as did the readership of his newspapers. The Nazi press accounted for more than 80% of the newspapers circulated in Germany by mid-1941. Now, why am I telling you this? Well, Pierre Poilievre has repeatedly said he's going to defund the CBC and turn the headquarters into housing. Now, he has banned any MPs from engaging with anybody from Bell Globe Media, which would be CTV. So let me see if I get this correct. The only media, and I put that in air quotes, that he'll speak to is Rebel News or True North, or Andrew Lawton, who is True North.
Who are considered objective sources of news officially by the Conservative Party of Canada, based on recent statements.
But no journalist in the country sees it that way. Not a single one. Matter of fact,
Rebel News, when it comes to Rebel.
Well, Rebel News does not qualify for the journalism tax credit because they aren't journalists.
A court said so.
Yes.
And so did Rebel in a previous trial.
Yes. Yes, in a previous trial, they said exactly that. So...
Wait, why? Don't hold us accountable for the product we put out. We're not news. And then they fell in the application. Hey, we are news. Give us a tax credit. And the judge, well, sorry, you're not news. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Wait a minute, you yourself. It's amazing how it's on a sliding scale.
Well, and each time he gets asked a question, or who are you with? Canadian Press? Oh yeah, you're the Trudeau-funded liberal, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, why is it the opposition only ever does this? I have never seen Jagmeet Singh, Justin Trudeau, or Elizabeth May say any of that stuff. It's only one fucking guy every single time. Why is that? Let's go back to that graphic for a second. From the Holocaust Encyclopedia. Adolf Hitler and the Nazis succeeded in destroying Germany's vibrant and diverse newspaper culture. You do not see the parallel here? This man has said he'll defund the CBC, and he's told his MPs not to engage with anybody from Bell. So CTV, that's it. You can't speak to them. Any Bell-owned media property, you are not allowed to speak to. But he's the party of freedom, right?
And David Cochrane reminded us the other day on CBC's Power and Politics that he has not interviewed a Conservative MP since March 2023.
Yeah. Over a year.
National broadcaster.
So if you think these people have your interest in mind or at heart, I got a large piece of oceanfront property in northern Saskatchewan to sell you. I'll give you a real good price.
Ooh, my favorite place.
Oh, yeah.
The oceanfront of northern Saskatchewan.
It's gorgeous. You're going to love it. It's right on the desert. There actually is a desert there. Good in northern Saskatchewan.
Happy memories. I remember my summers. Playing beach volleyball. Paddling, windsurfing. Such happy childhood memories. Now, it seems that the PPCons got the heads served up on a silver platter that they claimed they wanted by yelling that CTV did something terrible by the miscommunication that CTV says that they had that put out that clip of Pierre speaking, making it seem like he said that he's opposing dental care, that the motion that he presented was to eliminate dental care rather than to bring down the government, not that it could be any damage to his reputation because he doesn't support the dental care program. So the clip literally is just saying
what he said.
What he said, but attributing it to the wrong thing. So it's not like we're misrepresenting his position on something. It was just misreporting what it was that the motion was about, or it could create the impression that. Well, statement from CTV National News, September 26, 2024. CTV National News today issued the following statement regarding a report on its September 22nd, 2024 broadcast. A report on Sunday's CTV National News broadcast did not meet our expected and required high editorial standards. We sincerely and unreservedly apologize for the manner this report went to air and the false impression it created. This is the second time that they come out and say it, because apparently the first time wasn't enough. As is standard practice, we conducted an investigation to determine whether a breach of our editorial policies and practices had occurred in this case. The investigation found that 2 members of the CTV news team are responsible for altering a video clip, manipulating it for a particular story. Their actions violate our editorial standards and are unacceptable. Those individuals are no longer members of the CTV news team. Our duty to provide accurate, fair, and balanced coverage of the issues that matter to Canadians and to do so fully independently is of the utmost importance to us. We will continue our work to earn the trust of the millions of Canadians who turn to CTV News each and every day. I have questions. Because if it was a miscommunication, why are 2 people being fired? And if 2 people are being fired because it wasn't a miscommunication, yes, and it was an actual act of deliberate manipulating for a certain story, why did you say the day before that it wasn't?
Yeah, that's the funny part, right?
So CTV, you have an issue. Number 2, Pierre just cost 2 people their jobs.
He doesn't give a shit. Hey, he got Rachel Gilmore fired because he didn't like what she had to say when she reported the truth.
Yep. So he just cost 2 people their jobs with his personal little vendetta. So he just reached into 2 average Canadians' lives and destroyed them. CTV sure rolled over.
Yeah, disappointing.
Unless it was an actual thing of manipulation, then how did they get it wrong the first time and try to let it slide with something that wasn't true? So either way, CTV doesn't look good now.
No.
CTV could have made a case and say, whoops, it was an error in communication, but hey, we retracted, we put out the public statement. That's what we're expected to do. We did that and leave it at there. But by doing this, either they lied the first time or they're kowtowing this time to maintain access.
Which I think is the case.
And there's no guarantee that the Conservatives are going to say, oh, well, you fired 2 people, so now we will reverse our edict, sorry. Because, and okay, now everything's better because, yes, this current version of the Conservatives is well known for getting over butthurt rapidly. And not milking the outraged cow until the udders are giving you dust.
Well, I mean,
so the outraged cow they milk is like, dude, man, let me eat some grass.
Yeah.
Stop tugging at my. These people. And now, of course, there's a pylon because Susan Delacourt shared this with just a few words. I think this is CTV saying they fired the people who offended a politician.
Yes.
And then this lovely person, I hope you can hear the drip when I say lovely.
Yes.
Named Jackie Budden, who's a current political staffer I'm going to guess political staffer for the Conservative Party of Canada.
I would have to
I would
assume.
assume, because, interesting that you would call yourself a political staffer, but not be proud enough of who you're staffing to say which party you're staffing
That
for.
happens a lot with the Conservative Party, I've noticed.
Yes. Decided to offer this one up because apparently the two people at CTV are not enough of a body count, but
And this would be why Susan should probably also be fired.
so Susan goes, I think this is CTV saying they fired people who offended a politician. Oh my God, you had an opinion on what CTV did. You should probably also be fired too.
Wow.
Jackie, your idea was not well thought out, and the decision to publicly express it, even less so.
Yeah.
Because I don't know about you, but I am old enough to remember no firings whatsoever happening at Rebel, the Counter Signal, True North,
any of those,
all the usual suspects, when they cleverly edited a clip or selectively picked from a quote or put a interesting frame around a story that had no tethering to any observable reality whatsoever. Or
well, I
came to
think what we
editorial
have,
conclusions that did not flow logically from the facts, or took stories where there were things that were unknown and decided to fill the blanks with what they wished to be true rather than there was in order to give the story a bent. There should be bodies piled all along the Trans-Canada for every single occasion of that.
I'm beginning to wonder if you have journalists who are so deathly afraid of losing their jobs that they won't even ask the hard questions anymore. I mean, they're not allowed to talk to Polyev anymore. He's the only politician that constantly calls out the media for doing their damn job. The only one.
Media asks unpopular questions of popular people.
It's their job.
You don't like the question, welcome to life. You really can't stand the question, you're in the wrong business. Get the fuck out.
Can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. Like, come on, man. The guy's just so bloody pathetic. He's a spineless, narcissist little dweeb. And he's a bully. On top of it all, he's a bully.
Yeah. Now, Liberal MP Rob Oliphant said he didn't buy Genuis's defense. Oliphant has asked the Speaker, Greg Fergus, to investigate the matter further. Fergus said he would take it under consideration. Interesting part, because the Conservatives keep on claiming that the Speaker is biased, because this wasn't, I guess, caught on live mic and he didn't know where it came from, even though he heard. He's not asking any of the Conservatives to retract it, even though Hansard did record it, but doesn't say who, because he can't identify the person who did, even though that there's now video, but apparently he still can't identify the person who did. So, but the Prime Minister, when he stood up after and said, we're used to this kind of crap, or no, sorry, when you have to stand up to a bully, sometimes you got to reject their crap, was asked to retract crap.
Yes. And a journalist who I've respected for many years, Judy Trin.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, I lost respect for her yesterday because she's like, how do you feel? I'm like, Judy, that's the wrong frickin' question and you know it.
Yeah.
But Judy works for CTV now. She's no longer with CBC. So I wonder if maybe there was an editorial suggestion, just asking questions.
Yep. It's, It was like, there was another occasion recently that popped in my head and then popped immediately out. Well, it was like, was Merritt Stiles, who had made a comment about Doug Ford. And I remember the journalist going, oh my God, I can't believe you said that about Doug Ford. Are you sure you're not going too far? Is that, we've seen Doug Ford go for the last 6 years. I think there's some patterns of behavior that have been clearly established here.
But here's the question. Mr. Beaver just sent it to me. Thank you, sir, because I had lost it. It's from Judy Trin, again, a journalist I've respected for many, many years. Mm-hmm. I asked Health Minister Mark Holland if the Liberals have abandoned the high road after yesterday's debate in the House. The Prime Minister used the word crap to describe the behavior of some Conservative MPs.
So, did he engage him in the bathtub part?
No, that was the part that wasn't addressed, right?
Right. It's like, oh my God, he called it crap. Which
and like Judy, you dropped the ball on this one, because listen to what Minister Holland has to say. And on this one, I don't think there's a person in the country who can argue with this. And I don't care what side of the aisle you sit on. When you hear what he has to say, and if you disagree, we need to have a conversation, and you might need some therapy.
They're taking the strategy from the movie Mean Girls, and this is what we face every day. And so, yeah, it's a very, I really, at the end of the week, and I talk to my partner, and I wonder, well, how do you respond to this? I think we're really having trouble, and sometimes you get frustrated. I don't know. That's what human beings do. I don't know if somebody's screaming and yelling at you and denigrating you and making personal slurs, and they do that all day long, and that's your workplace? Like, what other workplace would this stuff be acceptable? Take a look at their behavior. Now, sometimes I own it. I'm not a perfect person. I make mistakes. Sometimes I overreact. Sometimes I get emotional. But I walk into that place as a servant of the house, and I try to comport myself as such. And I think every Canadian should hold people to that behavior. And you're going to wag the dog, pet the donkey, ride the goat nonsense. Like, what does that stuff even mean? These slogans and nonsense. And then in between, screaming, you're going down. Yeah, that's one we're taking. We got your seat. You're done. Like, what?
I mean, in what other workplace is that acceptable?
It's not. And you know what? I'm going to go back to back with clips of Mark Holland, because this is one of him in the House of Commons the other day. Mark Holland is someone who's been in politics for a while, mm-hmm. and I knew him for a bit, and then I kept on seeing clips of him, let's say in the last year or so, and I don't know, it's like his performance or the way he was delivering or saying stuff didn't meet up with what I knew about mm-hmm. him, and I was wondering where he went. What you just saw there, and what you're going to say in this clip, is what I knew to be true of Mark Holland. I don't know where this guy that we're seeing now had gone to for a little bit, but I'm glad he's back, because I don't know where this genuine fire and passion has been hiding for the past few years.
Plans. Common sense conservatives will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, stop the crime, and protect your drug plan. How about that?
The Honourable Minister of Health.
Mr. Speaker, this is the guy who said dental care doesn't exist. This is the guy that said providers won't sign up. Well, I got news for you. 750,000 people across this country got care. I also got news for you, Mr. Speaker, and that is more than 80% of providers has signed up. We're getting it done. So he can fearmonger, he can scare people, but we're going to get it done on pharma as well. We're going to make sure that diabetes patients get their medication. We're going to make sure that women get their contraceptive, because that's what freedom looks like. A woman who has choice over her own body.
Plans.
Again, you can tell on his face, he meant that shit.
Yeah, he's pissed.
Where was this?
I don't know.
Liberals, where has this been the last 2 years?
I'm glad it's here now.
We need more of this.
Maybe somebody lit a fire under his butt and he just said, all right, enough of this shit.
Like, for the Liberals, it's clear that the gloves are off now.
Here's an interesting comment from Wilbur Turner, because it sticks with what we've been talking about. At Queer Granddad
I love
Twitter.
him.
When MP Garnet Genuis heckled the Prime Minister with a homophobic joke, in quotes, it sent a toxic message that being gay is something to laugh at. What does this say to queer youth watching? It tells them that their identity is still a punchline at the highest levels of government. These so-called jokes reinforce homophobia and make LGBTQ youth. Let me try that again. Okay, hang on. Swear, let me get it into frame here. These so-called jokes reinforce homophobia and make LGBTQ plus youth feel unsafe and devalued in society. We should be lifting them up, not tearing them down with harmful, outdated stereotypes. Everyone deserves respect, no matter who they are or who they love. This kind of behavior is rooted in a desire to diminish someone's worth by associating them with something they view as lesser, in quotes. But it's 2024. We need to be better than this.
Mm. And that applies too to the people that make the joke, he's going to jail. Boy, I hope he doesn't drop the soap.
Mm-hmm.
Or he's going to make a lot of new friends.
Mm-hmm.
But can't wait to see what his cellmate is going to call him.
Yeah.
Right? Well, those are not cool.
No.
Those are not cool. Because number one, again, same-sex jokes. But we're also joking about sexual assault. Again, if we judge our society by how we treat our incarcerated populations, we're sending you to jail to get raped. That'll learn you. It's probably not a message that we want to be sending. Just saying. You might want to check that.
Yeah.
I know it's an easy go-to and and we want criminals who have done terrible things to get their punishment. But I don't believe that we should be happy or gleeful at the prospect of someone being sexually assaulted as punishment for the crimes they've done.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's just me. Yeah, Mr. Jim, rape jokes are okay if they're against men.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the message, right? That's the messaging. It's never okay. It's funny.
Never okay. Never okay.
And I am guilty of having made those about somebody.
I am too.
I mean, boy, he better not drop the soap on you. I've made those jokes.
Yep.
To say I haven't would be a lie, and I'm not a liar. I've said those things. Well, I'm sure things will get sorted out for him once he's in the pen.
Mm-hmm.
Something tells me he's going to want to shower with a friend and not alone. Because we know that happens. Yeah. It happens in prison. Yes. I've worked in one. I know. I know people who've spent time in them. I know what happens there.
Mm-hmm. Not something that we should be laughing about. And like Mr. Grizzly says, I've made the joke too in the past. There's a lot of jokes I've made in the past that I don't make now.
Yeah, because we learned. When you know better, you do better.
You do better. Maya Angelou.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I've, the entire time that Doug Ford has been premier, there is a 3-letter word I have never used.
Yeah.
In order to throw an insult or a put down on him. I see a lot of people doing it, but I've chosen not to do it. Because if I add it, this whatever valid critique I had, once I throw that word in it, it's like inserting noise into the critique. You give somebody, hey, you're size shaming, you're body shaming like this. And then the content of my critique disappears. I create an opportunity for somebody to get hooked on a point that is irrelevant to the discussion at hand, and to have the conversation sidetracked, and then the conversation become about my behavior in making the choice of using that word rather than the behavior of the person I'm criticizing. It just gets in the way of the message. Same thing with the R word. If you are the political right and you want to make a point to me, and you use any word that ends in tard, with the first syllable from which tard comes from.
We're not using the French word of en retard, which means you're late.
Yes. I stop listening. I stop reading as soon as I see the word. Because if everything that was coming in front of the word seemed to be rational and logical, and then you use that word, I know that everything that comes after is pure bullshit. That word, if you could have the best point in the world, you throw that word in, you've destroyed it. Because a terrible person making a good point, even though the point may be good, but a terrible person making a good point in a terrible way usually leads to somebody not seeing the point. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. If you're not able to engage with people on your first engagement, this is the way you say hello, this is the way you enter into a room, without using a slur or a put down or an insult or one of these tard words, you have nothing to say that I consider worth hearing. Because if it was worth hearing and was worth saying, you wouldn't have needed to add that word to it. And by adding that word, it seems to me that that's what you're telling me is that your priority is. It's not your point. It's the put down. Okay. And you know what? Maybe once or twice here and there, that's a legitimate thing. But I mean, if that's all you are, again, if this is how you wish to spend the precious moments of the gift of life you have been given.
Yeah.
Free country. I would make other choices, though. Just saying. All right.
So the whole, I'm going to read a line here from the Hansard because this is from Pierre Poilievre. So Honorable Pierre Poilievre, Liberal Leader of the Opposition, CPC. Mr. Speaker, I will comment on one spectacular social housing project of his, and that is the brand new lavish apartment he bought for his friend, the new Consul General to New York. It cost $9 million for his friend Tom Clark to have a, in quotation, stunning powder room finished in jewel onyx, end quote. Begin quote, Cristallo gold quartzite countertops, end quote. A handcrafted, begin quote, copper soaking tub, end quote. Begin quote, custom bronze bathroom fixtures, end quote, and a $5,000 coffee machine. Did the Prime Minister go and inspect this palace in the sky in his recent trip to New York?
Why would he?
So here's the thing about all of the statements Pierre Poilievre just made. That's rich coming from a guy who lives in a 19-room taxpayer-funded mansion.
Right? With chefs and nannies and...
And remember, we sold the old building, which would have cost us more than $9 million to bring up to code. Sold it for $13 million, bought the new one for $9 million, which is up to code for accessibility. And
no major work needs to be done in it. There's going to be a couple of security features that need to be added, I'm sure.
But that's about it, because it's a newer building. It's not brand new. And $9 million in New York City, it's a bloody bargain, man.
Yeah, again, and they keep on saying on Billionaires Row. Well, if you're living in a $9 million place on Billionaires Row, aren't you at the bottom of the rung?
That's a bargain.
So, but I now understand.
Look, there's an apartment up the street from me on Spark Street.
Yes,
that's $2 million.
But now I understand. I mean, if the bathtub is copper, and given how much conservatives love money, I can understand why they would want to have a meeting to engage each other in a copper bathtub. It must feel so luxurious.
I just sent you a DM, and because what I just read to you was posted by a gentleman.
Okay.
And I'll read what he says. That doesn't qualify as a homophobic slur, signed a gay man. And then there's a whole thread you might want to have a look at when you get a chance, because it's like, oh, dude, really? I think he's masquerading as a gay man, to be honest with you, because the stuff he says in there.
Okay. Now, I don't consider it a homophobic slur because to me, slur is it's a term specifically that's recognized. So, the N word, the F word, right.
The R word.
Those are slurs. Like, did he engage him in a bathtub? That's a little too complicated and convoluted to be a slur, but it's definitely a homophobic statement by any stretch of the imagination.
Oh yeah.
So the slur is me being Mr. Grizzly style pedantic on that one.
But I'm fine with that because I agree with you. But it's not a slur as much as it is he's saying, did you have a gay meeting?
Yes. As one who has been at the receiving end of slurs, I know a slur when I hear one. So fine. I'd be sitting there and it's like, oh, sweetie, you tried.
You tried and you failed.
It didn't land, but you tried. You tried at the wrong thing, though. But you tried. Good for you. Slow clap. It's like I see these things and it's like when you even fail at insults.
Yeah.
It makes me sad because, hey, we know that I'm a little petty. And I'm definitely not against a good zinger. But your zinger has to zing. The heat you bring has to actually be fire.
Fur flies everywhere.
It's like if your zinger doesn't zing and the heat that you bring has no fire, and that thing that you spent all night, in bed going, oh, know what I should have said? This is what I should have said. I'm going to come back tomorrow and say that. And after you say it, in your head, you hear the wah, 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 wah.
Yes. The sad trombone.
Those of us who have PhDs in bitchery. Girl. But you tried.
Yeah, you tried and you failed.
It's that sort of like cocking the head a little bit and that look of pity, like. I just feel sorry for them. Like before I get mad or get upset or like I just really. Oh, bless your heart, Muffin.
I've got a dilly for you. I missed this clip the other day. This is good. This is really good. You're going to enjoy this thoroughly. Trust me.
Okay.
Watch this.
Speaker, it's obvious that the leader of the opposition really didn't like that I went down to New York City to talk directly to Americans. Perhaps he would have been happier if I accepted an all-expenses-paid trip, perhaps down to Florida to appear at an anti-abortion church. I know he would have been all right with that, because that's what he allows of his own members. Every time the leader of the opposition gets up on his feet to rhyme off his little show, his party members applaud enthusiastically. But the two times he just stood up to suggest that he is perhaps pro-choice, silence from his team, Mr. Speaker. He cannot protect women's rights from the members of his own caucus, Mr. Speaker. That's not standing up for women. That's not protecting the future. That's not freedom in this country.
Again, the look on his face. He's pissed.
Yeah, he's mad. I missed that the other day. I just got sent that. I'm like, holy shit, that is wow.
Wow. Kid Jen, Wigotry and bitchcraft.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. I am definitely. I definitely, yes. The dark arts of bitchcraft, or the cauldron that I have behind the green screen, is definitely where I do my best work. I've got a little brew going on back there. Oh man. Okay, so to close off the Garnet stuff, because when you do something like that, you're just setting yourself up for stuff like this.
I wasn't thinking about sex at all.
With a freeze frame, and you know he was not thinking about sex at all by the big open arms, right? What? Me?
Yeah.
And then this, a very unflattering picture of Garnet Genuis with I wasn't thinking about sex at all. Let's just say the unflatteringness. I think I created a new word there. The unflatteringness of the photo would also send the message, nobody's thinking about sex with you either. I know we're not supposed to look shame, but he had it coming. He's pro-conversion therapy. Fuck that guy. Or don't. Actually.
You know what, though?
I'm sorry.
I gotta share this clip with you because you're gonna love this.
I'm sorry. I should be better than that.
This is from Lisa.
But I'm not.
From Lisa B. You're going to love this. I'm going to grab a coffee in the meantime. I'll be right back.
Oh, Lisa, thank you,
Remember
darling.
when you were a kid, like 5, 6 years old, and you did something you weren't supposed to do? Even if you knew you weren't supposed to do it and you did it anyway, and then you got caught, and all your mom or dad or guardian wanted you to say was, "I'm sorry, I'll never do that again. I've learned my lesson." Why are 5 or 6-year-olds better than Garnet Genius? Garnet Genius. Because 5 and 6-year-olds know how to apologize and acknowledge when they've done something wrong. Garnet just doubles down. Today in the House of Commons, because of all of the hubbub of yesterday, this little twerp stood up and rambled, trying to justify what he said yesterday about Justin and Tom in a tub as absolutely not being a slur of any kind. No bullying, no derogatory comment. He was just making a commentary on the fact that the condo in New York has a state-of-the-art tub, and is there engagement happening? Because engagement doesn't happen in a tub. That's what he came up with. That's what took him 24 hours to come up with. It was not well received, because people know what he meant. Based on his personal opinions and values, he meant what we all think he meant. It was a personal attack on Justin, a schoolyard bully trying to make somebody feel bad. And he was pretty proud of himself, because if you saw the video of him making the comment in question period, big old smile, chuckle from the guys on either side of him. We all know what you meant. You weren't talking about political engagement. You were trying to cut down the PM. And today, instead of standing up and saying, "I apologize, the comment was inappropriate and I retract," Twerpity Doo doubles fucking down. I gotta say, if you go watch it, and you can go to JB's profile and watch it, God bless Charlie Angus. He gives 0 fucks at this point and just tells it like it is. Stop the bullshit in question period. Speaker needs to take a stand. Stop putting up with the antics of the conservatives. And I'm gonna suggest, Garnet, since your family is quite prolific, what are we at, 5 kids, 6 kids? I'd be curious to know how you're teaching them to make amends when they do something they shouldn't do. Because if you're teaching them how to be like you, good fucking luck when they hit their teens. I mean, you might get what you deserve, Garnet. Oh, and based on statistics, at least one of those kids is going to be a member of the 2S LGBTQIA plus community. Karma's a bitch, Garnet.
I told you you'd love it.
Oh, God, I love her. Oh, shit.
We got to get her on the show at some point, man.
You know what? For the first time ever, she liked one of my tweets.
Okay.
So she's there, but it's like I keep on saying, it's like, you're more than welcome. But I think that because she takes some pretty firm stances
Mhm.
and delivers them with that tongue planted firmly in cheek style. She probably gets a lot of BS.
Well, she does it. She is
I
on a
would say, but
podcast, right?
yeah,
She has a
yes,
podcast
yes,
with
yeah, yeah.
Steve
She's
Boots
not
and
adverse to doing
Brittlestar.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you know, I have a feeling that we might be the type of show that needs to really prove ourselves. I have a feeling that she is a lady of very discerning taste
Mm, mm.
because she doesn't respond very often. So when there's an output, but there's not very much responding.
Mhm.
So I think that she may be. It's quite possible that she's been at this for a while and had a couple of encounters that were less than pleasant, and you say, you know what, I'm just going to do output now, which some people do. Just because somebody's handing you bait doesn't mean you have to engage, right? So, but I love her, and yes, I would. I worship the ground she walks on.
Yes.
Lisa, if you even know we exist, we love
Would
you.
love
We
to
would
have you on the
love
show.
to have you.
I'd like to get Steve Boots on too.
Yes, yes, yes. They're all good.
Oh yeah. Well,
They're all
Brittlestar goes without saying.
Yes, exactly. I'm trying to find out more about the CPCMP who traveled to Florida. For some reason, I
Well, you
can't figure out who it
keep
is.
looking into that. I've got something for you here that I found interesting from.
This is the guy. Okay.
From Doug Ford's government is looking to change the deal for how casinos in Niagara Falls are run to potentially add more in the city and bolster its reputation as the so-called Las Vegas of the North. Okay.
Well, no. Montreal is already the Las Vegas of the North.
Yeah, yeah.
Montreal is the city where you can do everything 24 hours a day.
And they're about to add 24-hour drinking.
No. Toronto is the New York of the North. Montreal is already the Las Vegas of the North. That's been well established.
Well, he wants to make Niagara Falls the Las Vegas of the North, which, okay, sure. That's great. 2.5 million Ontarians are without a family doctor or nurse practitioner.
Again, booze and gambling.
But I can get a beer at 7 a.m. in the corner store. Booze and gambling. You know, now I'm just going to, like, in Las Vegas, who ran the city of Las Vegas for booze and gambling for decades?
Frank Sinatra?
No, the mafia.
I know that.
So once again, Doug Ford is acting like a mob boss because he's about to give a big concrete construction project to a friend of his to build a tunnel under the 401. I mean, if people can't see the level of corruption in this man, I just don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
I just don't. He's tied to the Russians too.
Yeah.
Straw bag.
Yep.
This is. I'm not making any of this up. It's all factual.
Oh yeah. Follow the receipts. This is the guy that decided that going to Florida for an abortion tour was a good idea.
Who is it?
This is a CPC MP. His name is Jeremy Patzer. And I will look him up here to see what is his electoral district. Cypress Hills Grasslands. I'm guessing that's probably Saskatchewan, given that he was born in Saskatchewan.
I'll put it in the Googler.
But yes, I would assume, yes, his residence is in Swift Current, Saskatchewan. So I would guess that this is Saskatchewan.
Yeah, Saskatchewan,
Cypress
yeah.
Hills Grasslands.
Yeah,
okay, now this article is in French, so I will be translating as I go, so it'll be a little clunky on the fly, but I'll be able to get to use some of my former skills for this. So it's an article that is titled Embarrassing for Pierre Poilievre. An MP from the Conservative Party of Canada has been hosted by an anti-abortion church in the United States. Jeremy Patzer was invited as a Canadian MP and even delivered an address. And it's by Sarah Maud Lefebvre. An MP of the Conservative Party of Canada made his way to Florida to pronounce a speech in the context of the Congress of a Creationist Church and Anti-Abortion Church, a trip that brings to the forefront a prickly file for the leader, Pierre Poilievre. In June 2023, the MP from Saskatchewan, Jeremy Patzer, spent 3 days in Tampa, in Florida, as a conferencier at the Congress of the Church of God Ministries, a Christian movement that aims to, quote, build a collective life centered around Jesus. It's this church, by the way, that paid for the trip and all the expenses of this MP, this conservative MP, according to the Register of the Commissioner of Conflicts of Interests and Ethics. Even also recently in 2022, this same congregation adopted a resolution asking American states to adopt laws to, quote, limit access to abortion, a question that has been haunting the conservative troops of Pierre Poilievre for several years now. The deputy, I keep on calling deputy because it's député in French, the MP, Patzer, is himself an aficionado of the Canadian wing of the Church of God's Ministries, but it's in his role as a Canadian MP and not personally that he has participated in the American Congress last year. Quote, if an MP has religious convictions, he can practice them on the personal plan, on a personal level. But speaking as an MP, it is not the same thing, underlines Frédéric Boilly, a professor at the University of Alberta, who is an expert in Canadian conservatism. In a text published in February 2023 on their website, the Church of God Ministries announced that the MP from Cypress Hills Grasslands would be attending the conference, and they qualified him as the man behind the voice of Canadian conscience, coming to bring, I've never heard of the man before in my life.
No, neither have I.
So I don't know how he developed that reputation. Come to present the, quote, point of view of a political man working in public service, fully engaged before everyone in the kingdom of God. Jeremy Patzer said that he... Pardon?
I'm sorry, what?
Yes. Entièrement engagé avant tout dans le royaume de Dieu. So, not before, yes. So fully engaged before anything else in the kingdom of God.
So when he was sworn in as an MP, he disregarded his oath?
It would seem so. Jeremy Patzer also said that he wanted to contribute to the renewal of biblical values in our society. And this is a quote from him. I'm not sure if it's from the actual allocation that he delivered there, but he said, to be able to come and address this crowd in the context of my role as a parliamentarian is an opportunity, is a passionate opportunity that will continue to show that God works and acts in our daily lives, he said. This congregation seems to subscribe to a traditional expression of the evangelical church where we want to promote a vision of the biblical world against abortion, in favor of the importance of the family, respect of traditional gender roles, etc. It's a vision that is very conservative of society, explains Véronique Pronovo, a researcher of l'Observatoire sur les États-Unis, so the observatory on the United States, I guess.
I got to ask a posit a question here. Why was this not covered in English mainstream media?
I don't know.
It should be. We're covering it now.
Yes.
We're not mainstream media, but you know.
Yes. Of the Raoul Danduran Chair in Strategic Studies and Strategic and Diplomatic Studies. Neither Mr. Patzer, nor the Conservative Party of Canada have followed up on our requests for interviews. The Conservative Party of Canada was content to send us past declarations of their leader, in which he reminds us that a, quote, Poilievre government would neither introduce nor adopt any laws restricting abortion. This could bring Pierre Poilievre to have to answer to questions on certain members of his caucus who come notably from the Western provinces, who have a religious who have profound religious beliefs that are rather important. There's always the suspicion that the Conservative Party of Canada has a hidden agenda, or more or less hidden agenda, believes Professor Boilly. It's worrisome because every time we enter a new electoral cycle, it's always the same question that returns. How does the leader of the Conservative Party view the question of abortion, and what is his position about it?
I don't know how you're able to read that in French and translate it in English so quickly. I could never do that.
It's what I used to do.
Yeah.
So I was very good at my job. Beyond this time, beyond the leader of the party this time, it's worrisome to see the number of MPs from the backbench who are ready to open up the question of abortion, also says Madame Pronovost. The more numerous they are, the more that they will need the backing of the party leader to do it. Mr. Poilievre has already said, by the way, that he would not oppose the liberty of his MPs to vote their conscience. So, as we keep on saying, it doesn't matter how many times the leader of the Conservative Party says that he is pro-choice, if he's not going to use the power he has as leader to whip his caucus to a pro-choice position, as the Prime Minister of Canada has done.
Mm-hmm.
The Prime Minister of Canada came right out and said, listen, you can believe whatever you want in your real life, but in this place, in this house, in your job as a representative of all Canadians, your public position on this issue is choice. You want choice for everyone.
Correct.
What you might do in your own personal life is your own choice for your own life, and you can have that belief, but the choice that we impose on everyone is choice, not lack of it.
And the thing that I go back...
Poilievre could do the same damn thing if he was true, and if he really meant, says, you know what, I'm pro-choice, and this party will neither adopt nor entertain, then when you know that you're leading a party that 75% of the members don't share what you claim your position is, because I don't believe that's his actual position, but let's say it is, you use your power to stop that shit. When it starts, you nip it in the bud, and he's not prepared to do that because he wants to keep his job.
The thing that you need to remember here, folks, and this is what is paramount, you can be anti-abortion and pro-choice. I know many people who are. You see, you can be those two things because you believe somebody else has a choice to make over their body. They have the right to make a decision about how their life is going to unfold. You might not make that same choice. You might not make that same choice because you don't believe in abortion, and that's fine. But you also shouldn't take away somebody's bodily autonomy. The same folks who screamed about, I'm not getting the vaccine, my body, my choice. No to abortion. What?
No to hormonal therapy for children who are of an age enough to determine that they want it, or at least to be able to express
my body, my choice.
Have it understood or taken into account.
So your body, your choice, but also your body, your choice for others is what you're saying. Because you're goddamn
your body,
hypocrites.
my choice.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying.
Goddamn hypocrites. But they don't even recognize how hypocritical they are. Yep. They don't recognize it.
Well, again, recognizing it would make it so that the narrative falls apart.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Right? That's the thing, is when you're so beholden to your narrative that you have to start denying the existence of reality for it to hold, that should be a sign that maybe you need a different narrative. If not a wholesale change, it needs a couple of minor adjustments along the way so that it still confirms to observable reality. If it's not, then that should be a sign to you that you are making the choice, because this is a choice.
Well, interesting comment.
To believe something that is not true.
A Christian says, I disagree. If you're anti-abortion, you're anti-healthcare, period. No, and here's why I say that, Christian. And I need you to understand this. You can be pro-choice and anti-abortion at the same time. Anti-abortion for you, your choice. Your choice is to not have an abortion. That's what I'm saying. You can be anti-abortion for yourself. I know many women who are vehemently pro-choice, but would never have an abortion. You can be those two things at the same time. It's not anti-healthcare. They made a choice for themselves. They're not making a choice for others. And they're not taking others' rights away to make that choice. That's how you can be anti-abortion and pro-choice. Anti-abortion for yourself. You would never have an abortion. I know many women who are like that, who are staunch feminists and believe a woman has a right to make that choice.
There are people in the gay community that feel the same way about same-sex marriage.
Yes.
It's for everyone else, but I'm not getting in one. I'm not going to subscribe into a heteronormative life format.
Right.
I'm gay for a reason. When the debate for same-sex marriage was coming on, there was a strong wing of opposition within the gay community itself.
Mm-hmm.
So if we get married now, are they going to force us to live like heterosexuals and all the norms of heterosexuals? It's like, well, no, whatever you do in the confines of your own marriage is. But there was some people that were concerned about that. It's like, no, I do not want to fit into that model.
Mm-hmm.
It was.
They don't want to take.
It was rare,
but they're not about to take
thing.
somebody else's right to make the choice away. That's the thing. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, you are correct, Christian. If a vote takes it away, it's no longer a choice. Correct.
Correct.
But right now, there are no votes on it because it's simply healthcare. It's seen as a medical procedure in Canada. There's no laws around it. It is simply a medical procedure, and that's why there's no laws around it. Because if you start to put laws around it, the laws can be massaged and changed.
And that's the thing about the United States is that they've taken this one medical issue and they've removed it from the realm of medicine and they've held it up as a specific thing. It's a morality thing. It's a religious thing. It's a don't you care about children thing or save the children. But at the end of the day, it's a regulated medical procedure. It's a regulated medical procedure.
That's it.
Just like the dilation and curettage is a regulated medical procedure because women miscarry.
Yeah.
It happens. Or some births or some pregnancies are not viable.
And that's why the Supreme Court of Canada ruled it as such, a medical procedure, nothing more.
Yeah.
You don't like abortion? Don't have one. You don't like gay marriage? Don't marry a gay person. It's not complicated, people. These things do not affect your life. They do not impact your day-to-day life. Please tell me how the 14-year-old girl who was raped by her uncle having an abortion is negatively impacting your life. And you know that shit happens. And I'm sorry if that triggered anybody. I probably should have put a trigger warning in there, but sometimes things just fly off the top of your head. So if anybody was impacted or harmed or hurt by that, I apologize. That was not my intention. But please tell me how a young lady in that time of her life, a young girl, because she's not even an adult, has gone through that. And you're going to tell her she has to carry that child to term?
Mm-hmm. Christian, I see your point, but you have said what happens in the States can happen here. Under the current laws, it can't.
Correct. It can't happen here under the current laws.
But we have a party that actively wants to change the law to make it possible for what's happening in the United States to happen here. That's why they keep on presenting all these bills, like, for example, we need to ban sex-selective abortion. It's like, it's in Canada, if you actually turned around and were talking to your doctor and say, oh, is it a boy or a girl? Because if it's a girl, I don't want it.
Mm-hmm.
No doctor's going to help you with that.
Nope.
If you say it, post-birth abortion, there's already laws. It's called infanticide.
Yeah, that's murder.
It's not a thing.
It's not a thing.
Extra crime, extra punishment if somebody commits a crime against somebody who's pregnant, unless they specifically chose that person to commit a crime upon because they were pregnant. we already have a law for that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hate crime based on gender.
Yes.
Because if you happen to kill someone randomly who happens to be pregnant, it's not the same thing as lying in wait behind a corner and saying, I'm going to wait for a pregnant woman. Right?
Yeah.
There are these differences in intent, all that type of stuff. But it's like, we don't giving extra penalty strictly because of pregnancy, devoid from intent, creates the concept of fetal personhood, which then opens the door. So these are the ways that they keep on trying to do it. They keep on trying to find a wedge that they can insert so that we can dissociate it, that we can consider abortion in certain cases something other than just a medical procedure. And that's how you get the situation that you get in the States. Then let's keep on having politicians discuss about how it's regulated or at which level of government it's going to be regulated. Oh yeah, it's a states thing. Yeah, it's a provinces thing. Let's just hand it back. Healthcare is provincial. Why is the federal government ever involved in abortion anyway? It sets the stage for all of that. Whereas if we just say it's healthcare, period, end of discussion. And we have the professional bodies that regulated that, end of discussion. That keeps it nice and tidy.
Oh yeah.
And there's certain people that would prefer mess.
Of course.
So right now, with the laws that we have as in our legal structure as it is now, it couldn't happen here. But that's where all these backbench motions come. Like this, that Pierre will do nothing to stop.
Of course not.
It's trying to find one avenue, any pretext whatsoever. To try to either recognize personhood for the fetus, or to find that one exception. Oh, but surely you can agree that abortion is terrible if it was for purposes of sex selection, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you want little girls to be born? You're a horrible human being. But it's all to create those avenues for that type of dialogue, that type of discourse, which serves nobody. Nobody gains from even the discussion being had. It's healthcare.
Mm-hmm. Simple as that.
Just keep it simple, stupid. The KISS rule on these types of things, because once you start trying to carve out exceptions and what if an exception does come, some mythical unicorn exception, I would rather trust that the professional bodies that we have in place will either be able to handle it or come up with a process to handle that, rather than leave it to politicians who every 4 years need to say the most outrageous shit that they can come up with in order to get their butts put back in that seat.
Well, remember how much of a hypocrite Pierre Poilievre is about this, okay? My backbenchers are free to make their own vote and choice. They're allowed to do that, but they're not allowed to talk to the CTV or CBC. They're not allowed to go to the World Economic Forum. They're not... You want to talk hypocrite? It should have a photo of Pierre Poilievre in the dictionary.
You think?
Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
My backbenchers are allowed to put forth whatever they want. They're free to choose with their own conscience, but they can't talk to CTV, they can't talk to the CBC, and they can't go to the World Economic Forum. But they're free to make their own choices because I believe in freedom.
They don't seem to be free to go to pride parades either.
Well, of course not. No. You can't have Pierre and his minions coming out of the closet in a parade. They might enjoy themselves for the first time in their lives.
Oh, no. Joy is verboten.
Yes.
Unless you're sticking it to a progressive. Then you can be happy.
Yeah.
With all the stuff that's been going on, yesterday, I guess what was the big news story, technically, we completely passed over, which was the no confidence motion. I realized when we went off, when we edited the broadcast, I never actually reported on the vote. But as you know by now, it failed. because the House of Commons is still having a session today. So it failed. But the vote was 211 nay to the motion text that the House has no confidence in the Prime Minister and the government, and 120 yay. And, the 151 Liberals there all voted nay. The 118 Conservatives voted yay. The Bloc Québécois, the 32 of them voted nay. The 24 NDP voted nay. The 4 independents, 2 voted yay, 2 voted nay. Yes. And the party I was really interested about was the Green Party, because Elizabeth May says we have never voted confidence in this government because, they decided to build a pipeline. But this was, so they've never voted confidence in, but they had an opportunity to vote no confidence in. And they too voted nay, along with the Liberals and the Bloc and the NDP. So the Conservatives plus 2 independents are the cheeses who stand alone here.
Mm-hmm.
And Elaine, the vote had more nay votes than in March. Yes, because the Conservatives tried this in March.
Correct.
So in March, more people were willing.
No, less people were willing in March. More people voted no yesterday than they did in March.
Yes.
They had more nay votes yesterday than they did last March.
Yes, but nay votes in this case is because we have a double negative here.
Okay.
Because that the House has voted no confidence. So if you're voting no, then you're voting no, I do not have no confidence. So in other words, I do have some confidence left in this case. So it's, Wow. So, and now we're in Groundhog Day.
Mm-hmm.
Because we get to do it all again. Now, remember, Kits and Cubs, we actually had 2 confidence motions, right? Because the vote on the capital gains, the changes to the capital gains inclusions, also took place. And that was a money bill. And it passed. So there were 2 opportunities to vote non-confidence in the government that day, and both were rejected. One just because Pierre wanted to, and one on an actual money bill. So if the Bloc and the NDP really did want to take them down to start an election and wanted to take them down on a clean motion or a clean thing, hey, it's a money bill. We no longer have confidence. We vote no on a money bill. Boom. Pierre didn't lead him into it. Pierre didn't drag him into it. They weren't jumping at Pierre's call. It was not a loaded question. It was a money bill. They could have done it. They had 2 options. One that kowtowed to Pierre and one that didn't. And they passed on both. That's a little part of the story that doesn't get told. Because they could have still done it and not given Pierre what he wanted. And they chose not to. Now, 2 days later, this fool is going to present another motion, super loaded, with all those campaign platform slogans in it, which he knows is not going to pass. It's like, gee, maybe the other untold story is, it would just seem to me that the headline is, does Pierre Poilievre really want an election? Because it seems to me that if you really wanted an election, well, you would have made the case to take the government down on their capital gains inclusion thing, not with a silly motion. And then when you presented a second motion after the first one failed, after everybody told you it would failed, and you went ahead with it anyway.
And this new one is just as verb the noun.
And this one has all your slogan stuff that everybody objects to. So which means the odds of it passing are way smaller than the odds of the clean motion you passing, and way smaller than the actual vote on the money bill.
Mm-hmm.
If you are someone that wants to achieve something, but you are not taking the steps that you need to take to actually achieve it,
Mm-hmm.
you can say you want it, but do you? I would really love to lose 10 pounds. Oh, look at a full pallet of Joe Louis. I'm going to eat them all tonight. Yum, yum, yum. I can't wait. I bought fresh chicken and broccoli, but I'm going to put that aside and for the next week, we feast on Joe Louis. Do you really want to lose weight? I would really love to be able to show up on time for work every morning because I'm time blind. But I refuse to set an alarm.
Yeah.
Do you really want to show up to work on time?
This question from Elaine is interesting. Does this mean that he's going to make a third motion on Monday, Tuesday of next week? If there's any self-awareness in that party, they would not do that on Monday. But I don't know that there's any self-awareness in them because they're a party of narcissists led by the top narcissist in the country. I say that because what's significant about Monday, sir?
Oh, that is true. Monday is the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation.
Yeah.
That would be a very, very, very bad day to try to pull focus.
Yeah.
Now,
I wouldn't put it past him.
He's done it before. On the day of the national apology to Harper, he went to CFRA radio and said, you know what Indigenous people need? Not an apology. Not legal settlements for terrible shit that we did to them for which we are accountable and should pay. They just need a stronger work ethic, and we should instill it in them. Hello, colonial attitude.
Yeah.
It is up to us as conservatives to instill the work ethic in those Indigenous people. And why are we compensating them for the bad shit we did to them? We're not getting any value for money for that. Literally what he went there to say. Right before. So it's sort of like, hey, conservatives, voters, today we're doing that thing where we're apologizing, wink, to the Indigenous, skip air quotes, people, the first people, quote, skip air quotes. But hey, don't mind that because here I am, just before we do that, to tell you not to worry because this is what we really believe. But shh. Now I'm doing it on the radio, so it's just between you and us and no one will ever hear or know.
Didn't he get taken to the woodshed by Harper for that, if memory serves?
It appears so, according to Andrew Lawton, anyway.
Yeah.
The book that he recently wrote. I just... like this guy. Ugh.
Yeah.
Man, he's exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
He is exhausting.
Well,
that's the goal.
It's because he's been in this role for 20 years. He's so convinced he's right about everything he says because he's had minions tell him so. He is a total narcissist. He has behaved, and I have this on authority from people who went to high school with him. They said, the guy you see in the House of Commons is exactly who he was in high school. He hasn't grown or changed one bit. Not a bit. He's still thinking like a 16-year-old and behaves like one on a regular basis. Although, I'm going to retract that statement because I know a lot of 16-year-olds that because I have nieces and nephews, and they don't behave like that ever, nor do any of their friends. So let me retract that statement. He's still behaving like he was 16 years old, not a 16-year-old. And there's a difference in that statement.
I think I need to issue a gentle correction on myself. Because I was looking up the vote on the capital gains inclusion thing, which I had read the other day. The vote was taken place, but I cannot see anything in the Our Commons that actually lists the vote, because on this one I wanted to see how the Conservatives would vote, because they have been very, very, very disciplined in not taking a public position on that.
Which is interesting.
I was wondering if they were going to abstain, because the whole question is that, well, are you for taxing the rich, which could hurt you with some of your base and your donors, if you vote yes, or are you not for taxing the rich, which could hurt you with some of your base and small dollar donors? So he's been very disciplined at not taking a position. And I have the feeling, and I'm also looking at the CBC Politics site right now, and there's nothing mentioned about that. So I'm not sure if it was another reading
We'll think about
before
that.
final vote or something. But I don't see any vote for it yet. Or maybe with all the shenanigans, they didn't have time to introduce it yet.
He won't take a position, which means you're screwed. Which way is the wind blowing that day?
Yeah.
That's the position he'll take at the time, because he won't take one until that point, which means you're screwed.
Yeah.
And by you, I mean everybody who is not wealthy.
Yeah. Now, Yves-François Blanchet of the Bloc Québécois has issued a deadline for when he wants
yes,
the whole vote. Yeah, October 29th, which is very conveniently the day after the Saskatchewan election.
Oh.
So the New Brunswick election, I believe, is on the 17th. The BC election, I believe, is on the 19th. And the Saskatchewan election is on the 28th. And Yves-François Blanchet is like, if you do not pass this by the 29th, I'm going to introduce a motion to take you down.
Yeah.
Now, how serious this is, again, you have to ask yourself, because for the government to be taken down, the two opposition parties need to vote. And I have a feeling that for the NDP, the day after, immediately after, all of its people in Saskatchewan who have been doing groundwork, get out the vote game for the Saskatchewan election, and 10 days after everybody in BC has done it for the BC election, people are going to be tired and would want to have a couple of weeks off rather than just the very next day jumping right into another writ. So I don't see a situation in which how Mr. Singh could vote to take down the government on the 29th or 30th without having everybody that's supposed to do groundwork for him in British Columbia and set up this one going like, come on, man. So there might be some other considerations, which again makes me ask the question, Monsieur Blanchet, do you really want the government to fall? He's talking a good game, but that early, right after the provincial, when you know that one of the other the other party that you might need to make that happen is probably not in position to do it, do you really want it? Maybe. Now, Monsieur Blanchet, you have to admit, like, he's in a really good position here. If the government can keep going until October 2025, that gives them a full year to be extracting some concessions. The Bloc hasn't had this much power since it was official opposition. Maybe Monsieur Blanchet isn't really all that eager to stop the flow of goodies. We're just going to take advantage of this for about a month, and then we'll pull the plug. I think you could probably get more, Eve. It's really Jagmeet who's deciding here. Because until his team is completely ready to go, and they still have a little bit of work to do, but until his team is completely ready to go, they don't go. The Bloc is ready. The Bloc is ready. There's no doubt about that. So it's really up to the Conservatives. And Yves-François Blanchet, I mean, excuse the expression, but He's in a position of having no fucks to give. Give me what I want or I vote to take you down. And there's no cost for him because whether the government comes down or not, because there's two parties, all he needs to do is do it. I voted against. Now it's just the NDP holding them up. Which makes Jagmeet Singh look a little weak, given that he was the first one to walk away. So Jagmeet Singh is not in a good position in any way, shape, or form on any of these votes. But Monsieur Blanchet literally has the luxury of take it or leave it. And to not care. Because the decision ultimately lies with Jagmeet. And if Mr. Blanchet, because there are 7 opposition day motions, 5 go to the Conservatives, 1 go to the NDP, and 1 go to the Bloc, and the Bloc wants to use it on October 30th or so when they know that the NDP would not be ready to go. And the Conservatives want to use all 5 of theirs before Christmas. That means that there's only 2 more opportunities. The vote on the budget or an NDP opposition motion day. That's it. So we're going to see a lot of welcome to Masterpiece Theater.
We got to wrap up, but I've got a video clip here for you that you're going to really appreciate, sir. You're really going to like this. This is good. This is solid.
Percentage Gulf Islands.
Mr. Speaker, and my friend for Thunder Bay, I'm very grateful for his participation in this House, and I know I'm not the only one who's going to miss him because he's chosen not to run for re-election. But what I want to ask is, his speech started to really kind of try to drill down on why is it that the official opposition wants an election now. As a British Columbian, I sent out an email far and wide and asked constituents, how do you think I should vote on the non-confidence motion? Now, of course, all of my constituents are in a provincial election right now. I didn't get a single person, which is unusual, saying, please vote with the Conservatives. I don't have a lot of constituents who want our current Prime Minister to stay on, but I do have a lot of constituents who think, what? We're having an election right now. One of the things that occurred to me, and I'll ask the honourable member because he has spoken of foreign interference, is it perhaps that the Leader of the Official Opposition wants to avoid any questions as to why he does not seek top secret security clearance? And I think we need to ask him to do so there isn't a lingering question about whether he's worried he wouldn't get it.
The honourable member for Timmins James Bay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank my honourable colleague, the Leader of the Greens, and I appreciate that she's going to miss me. I know the people who are going to miss me the most are the Conservatives because they're not used to anyone telling the truth. I mean, in their caucus, they get fed slogans, so they appreciate someone who can actually talk about facts. So to speak facts, I would like to respond that we have the only leader in the history of this country who either cannot or will not get security clearance. What does that say about confidence and being a national or international leader when he came in the middle of the night and voted against Ukraine, when he voted against support for the Canadian military mission to Ukraine, when he stood up and voted against Ukrainian support, and yet we now know, according to documents that have been filed, that Aaron O'Toole, who I respected, believes he was taken down by foreign interference. And who did that benefit? It benefited that guy who's living in the 19-room mansion in Stornoway. He needs to answer that question. Why isn't he here to explain his role in taking down Aaron O'Toole? I ask him, stand up, stop hiding behind the desk.
Reprise de débat, continuing.
I think that was pretty... Charlie has no fox left to give.
None. I like this version of Charlie.
Yeah.
I like this version of Charlie. And see, and this is the thing that I would expect a lot of other MPs when they were on their way out to do, but a lot of them choose not to do. Drop some bombs on the way out.
I mean...
stand up for some stuff. Stick the landing. Nail that dismount. Especially when you've had a career, as illustrious as Mr. Angus's, with longevity. right? He never got to be in government.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no doubt that he's made a contribution to the nation.
Oh, yeah, no question. No question.
There's no doubt that he's respected.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people don't agree with him all the time. That's natural.
You don't have to.
But he's pretty respected, even across party lines. But then again, he was in a punk rock band, so,
Oh, wisdom from Charlie Angus.
He's still a little punk. He's still a little punk in there.
This is yesterday. He said, I have known Pierre for 20 years, and that's why I know he is fundamentally unfit for PM. He is not a serious leader. Now, somebody added a line in there that is not quoted, so I don't believe he said it, so I don't want to read it. But it has to do with security clearance. It's not in quotation marks, so I think somebody just added that in, to be honest with you, because I can't find a record of him saying those words.
Okay.
So I'm not going to read it, but it gives you an idea of what it amounts to, right?
All right.
Let's
do we have a show?
Let's wrap this up. We have a show indeed, sir.
All right, kids and cubs. That's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. We hope that you love listening to us because we love making this for you. Remember, sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. So please tell your peeps and poops all about us. We really appreciate it when you do, and it helps us out a lot. Now, if you would like to make sure you do not miss an episode, you don't have to. Thanks to the Ray Girl, because she has sponsored our pod page. So if you scan that QR code that has just appeared, that will bring you right there. And if you are listening, please use your voice command or use those lovely digits on those lovely hands to go to podpage.com/the True North Eager Beaver, lowercase letters with a hyphen between each one of those words. Boom. See the subscribe button? Click it. You got the problem licked. Our podcasts come directly to you, fresh off the bandwidth. It's really easy. If you would like to help us in other ways, then there you are, Kit Elaine, right on time. Perfect timing, as usual. Have a beyond awesome day, everyone, and remember to smash the button before you leave. And if you want to smash with our buttons, in or out of the tub, surf yourself on down. We don't mind being engaged in a tub. Just say, we love engagement. We're podcasters. We love engagement. You want to engage us on your back patio? Go ahead. On your front porch? We have no pride. On the kitchen counter? Go for it. Even the bathtub. Engage with us. We're down. We're down. We're DTP. We're down to podcast. All right? So surf your way on down to the True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page. Miss, now I'm taking my smash back.
ETF, double the fun. That's what it means, right? Double the fun.
Double the fun. Yes.
Double the fun. Yeah.
And G for you means GFY means good for you.
Good for you.
So if you go to the True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page, we have 3 buttons for you. Like, share, and subscribe. Lick 'em, click 'em, flick 'em. It makes us very, very happy when you push our buttons. And if you would like to help us in other ways, the QR code by Mr. Grizzly's head brings you to our coffee page, our tip jar, our Feed Lola fund, our emergency hydration fund, the if you feel sorry for us, send us some pity money fund, whatever you want to call it. It's our tip jar, and it's at our coffee page, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, lowercase letters, all in one word. And if you have a little bit of coinage that seems to be weighing you down, well, we have no problem. We like to help. We're helpful people. Let us lighten your load. Just drop a few of them in there, and that means that you want to encourage us and support us in doing more, preparing more shows like this for you. Hopefully you get a lot out of it, and that makes us very, very, very happy and lightens our load too. So we thank you for your generosity. We appreciate everything that you can donate. But if you are not able to, please do not worry. Don't worry at all, okay? Because the gift of your attention and your participation are the ones we appreciate the most. And we love to hear from you. And if you would like to participate, well, I have a little hashtag that's called Kids Who Cook, and I love to see what it is that you are eating and what it is that you are making. So if you are planning this weekend to make some lovely, tasty dishes, maybe some barbecue, maybe you're having some friends over, maybe you're just treating yourself to something really nice, take a picture, send it to us. Yes. All right, we'll put it up. We'll show everybody what you're eating. Then we'll put it under the hashtag, or just post it to. Oh my God! Okay, I see your eyes, so I'm going to get back to that, Mr. Grizzly. Or you post it to the Twitter with the hashtag KitsuCook, so that we can find it, or send it to us at truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. You can also send us your thoughts about what you think about the show or what you'd like to see us add. If you have some comments about some of the things that we said, we had a really good comment the other day from Kit Donna. With what we were saying about something, and I was able, that it was I intended it one way, and it came across as I could have meaning saying something else. It gave me an opportunity to clarify what I wanted to say or what I did say to make it clear. These types of conversations, very, very, very happy to have them. Right. Mm-hmm. So if you've got a thought on what it is that we said, or you have a different opinion, please share it with us. We do want to know. So, truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com, our Twitter feed @trueeager, True North Eager Beaver Facebook page, or if you happen to be listening on YouTube, right down here in the comments section, you can leave us a little something. All right? We do read everything. So, thank you so very much for your participation, because democracy is something that you do if you live in British Columbia, Saskatchewan, or New Brunswick. You have some provincial elections coming up. Please find a way to volunteer. Research your candidates, support your favorite candidate. If the electoral bodies are still looking for some people to work the polling stations, give a call, check it, see if you can. If you're in a place where early voting has indeed started, please get your vote in early. Don't vote often, but do vote early. Or vote often throughout your life. Just don't vote often in the same election.
You can't do that. That's illegal.
That's not a bad thing. That's not a good thing, I should say. But please do plan your vote. All right. And tell people around you that you plan to vote. Show that you're excited to vote, which is a good way to get other people to vote as well.
Okay, I've got to.
Because kids and cubs, it could be a tough world out there. So please be kind to and gentle with yourself. But Mr. Grizzly, I think something has crossed your screen, because I saw your eyes open as big as toonies.
Well, it's because of this. The Yemeni Armed Forces spokesman Yahya Saree, and I quote, "The Yemeni Armed Forces hit a target in Tel Aviv with a Palestine II hypersonic missile and a target in occupied Ashkelon with a Yafa drone. We emphasize that in the coming days, our attacks will become more extensive for the sake of the victory of our brothers in Palestine and Lebanon." Yemen has stepped into it. I'll check with a couple of friends of mine who work in areas that deal with this on the daily and get their input. But it's heating up. Well, I mean, the Canadian government just said to any Canadians that are in Lebanon, get out now.
They've been saying this for a while now, but now they really
ramped it up just the other day. They're like, no, now.
After everything that happened in Lebanon with the exploding pagers and then exploding walkie-talkies, and then I think there was like 558 people murdered or killed. I shouldn't say murdered, but or maybe murdered. I don't know what the proper word is anymore these days for what's going on down there. In some incursions, but it seems that from what I can gather by following this is that Netanyahu and pals and his current administration have pretty much determined that they've bombed everything that could possibly be bombed in Palestine, and that if they want to keep this going, they need to open up a new front on this, because all I'm thinking is the parallels. I remember like the United States going to Israel and going and say, please do not make all the mistakes that we made after September 11th.
Mm-hmm.
And now it seems that they're opening the war on yet another front and seem to be hell-bent on dragging Iran in, either through proxies or... So, yeah, as Christian says, this is no longer about hostages. Now that... well, we said we needed to get Hamas, but I guess while we're at it, let's try and get Hezbollah, and you didn't mention anything about Hezbollah after October 7th.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be only about Hamas. Now you're expanding.
Yeah.
He's literally... I don't know what else to conclude other than Netanyahu himself and his cabinet, are really, really, really trying to make this a regional war. They see more interest for themselves personally, because this stopped being about the people and the hostages a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Netanyahu is being protested like crazy in his own country. I'm not sure, even those who reluctantly said, well, morally, if Hamas comes in and like takes out so many of our people like this, we have to respond. They're not down for the expansion of this in Lebanon. And it's like, hey, the Yemenis have now entered the room.
Well, and the thing is, you got to remember, Hezbollah wants no part of this. Because remember, they attacked Israel a couple of years ago, and the response from Israel was like 10 times what the initial attack was. And Hezbollah said, okay, we didn't know it was going to be like that. We're out. I'm paraphrasing, but effectively that was what they said. We're out. They don't want any part of this because they know they'll get their ass handed to them. So, yeah. Now, but Yemen stepped in it. This isn't good.
Yeah.
This is very bad indeed.
Indeed.
Sorry to end the show on such a brutal note, but it is breaking news. This happened like at 10 after 9, so it just happened.
Yeah. Now, Kits and Cubs, also before we cue the cock, we'll be back with an Easter egg. But Hurricane Helene, or Helene, if you're your francophone, has really hit in Florida and Georgia and the Carolinas.
It's a doozy.
It's a really big one. It's deemed the largest storm to ever hit, made landfall in Florida's Big Bend area. It's projected to be traveling towards Tennessee and Kentucky, where it will hover for a while before moving on. No clear indication yet of how it will be coming up and where in Canada we'll be getting the remnants. And then if that wasn't discouraging enough, Hurricane John has already been named and is following right behind and has already flooded parts of Mexico. And the part about it hovering over Tennessee and Kentucky is very bad, because that means that if there's no wind and the rain is just falling and falling and falling and falling. So there can be some pretty big messes there. So watch your weather reports, because over the next few days, we might be getting a lot of rain in certain parts of Canada as a result of that. All right, so be just if you got a few days to get prepared in case you need to make sure that you're topped up on supplies and stuff. So please do take advantage of this warning period in order to be able to do that. All right. Mr. Grizzly, please cue the cock, and I'll be back with some early voting data for you. You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, their uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music. All right, Kids and Cubs, according to Elections New Brunswick, it says that on advanced polling days, you can vote at your designated polling station or returning office on election between 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. For some reason, the Elections New Brunswick website does not indicate when the advanced voting days specifically are.
Guess they haven't figured that out yet.
But I've heard that it has already started.
Yeah, well.
Which is really interesting. In British Columbia, you can advance voting is October 10th to the 13th and October 15th to the 16th, and final voting day is Saturday, October 19th. So there you go for those. And I believe that in certain of these places, you might also be able to vote by mail. Don't quote me on that. But if you do have mobility issues and would prefer to vote by mail, do call your electoral body and see whether or not that is possible. Because if that's the case, generally you have to get your ballot in enough in advance to be able to fill it in and then get it in by mail by a certain deadline. So you would want to have enough lead time to make sure that the letter gets from the post box to the actual place where it can be counted in time to be counted. I will look for more information on this and have some more for you, more precise in the coming days. But just wanted to get that information out for you, for those who are thinking about it.
Okay.
All right.
Gotta go.
Have a Beaver weekend, everyone.
See ya.